Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mrs. Gibson, and I'm making this very short video to assist you even further as you prepare to write your personal and group compare and contrast essay. The first thing I want you to pay special attention to as you look at the essay on the screen is the number of paragraphs. If you count them, you'll take note right away that there are 4 separate paragraphs. The very first paragraph is the introduction. The second paragraph deals with similarities. The third paragraph deals with differences, and the fourth paragraph deals specifically with the conclusion, or is the conclusion. So why do I draw your attention to the number of paragraphs? I'm so glad you asked. I draw your attention simply because during the course of instruction, I have always made mention of a 5-paragraph essay. And I wanted to let you know that your compare and contrast essay does not have to be 5 paragraphs. It can, in fact, be 4 separate paragraphs, which would be an introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. So your personal and group compare and contrast essay must be a minimum of 4 paragraphs. It can't be any shorter than that. And so as you move on from talking about the paragraph number, I want to draw special attention to the introduction. And what I want you to notice is, is the strategy that the writer used. And so I'll read it to you. It says, what is it like to transition from elementary to middle school? That is a question many kids ask each year. Having experienced both, I can tell you that there are plenty of similarities as well as some very big differences between the 2 types of schools. The first thing that stands out to me is the very first sentence, the attention getter. The writer of this particular essay did in fact use one of the attention getter options. They chose to begin this particular essay with a question. Many of you will choose to begin your essay with a question, but there are other options as well, and you can read more about what those options are in our Google Classroom. Another thing that I wanted to draw to your attention as relates to the introductory paragraph is what follows the opening sentence, and that is more explanation or more elaboration. They began to say that the reason why they posed this question is simply because many kids ask this question year after year. And they then go on to say that after they have experienced, they too have had the experience of going from elementary to middle school. And so they can help you understand what are some similarities and what are some differences. And so as you begin to write your introductory paragraph, remember, you have to have an attention getter. You have to have something that draws your reader in right away. You can use a question, you can use a fact, you can use a quote, but whatever you decide to use, it must get your reader's attention. It must hook them and make them want to read more. So let's move on to the first body paragraph. And so I'll take the time to draw a square to help focus our attention on the body paragraph that we are going to kind of dissect. I want to give you a moment to read it. Read it to yourself in your head. And as you read it, I want you to see if you can count the number of examples or similarities they give for how elementary and middle schools are alike. And if you're wondering why I say this is a paragraph focusing specifically on similarities, I'm going to underline the very first sentence. And you'll see it says many traits in common. And so I'll give you a moment to read. So what you should find is there are exactly 6 similarities given in this particular paragraph. What are those similarities? Both, and that lets you know that they have it in common, are open 5 days a week for a set number of hours each day. What's another one? Students have to sit in a desk. What's another one? Students are expected to listen and learn. What's another one? Set time for lunch. What's another one? Homework. What's another one? Quizzes and tests. And so all in all, we have 6 different similarities that our author decided to highlight in their first body paragraph. So as you begin to write your group paragraph, remember examples, 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 concrete details from the text will help not only make your writing clear, but it'll help you prove your thesis statement and what you're trying to say is a fact as it relates to that particular story. So let's move on to the third paragraph. And maybe you're ahead of me and you've already done that. And that is perfectly okay. But now we're focusing specifically in our third paragraph. We are looking at the differences. And so how do I know we're talking about differences? That word big change. There are some big changes. Or even however, which is a transitional word that will let me know that there is a change in what was stated before. There's something different about what's about to come. And so as I go and I read further, it says there are some big changes that new middle school students should be aware of. So what are some of those changes? According to the author, in elementary, you stay in the same classroom. And you have the same teacher, with same classroom, with one teacher for most of the day. Middle school, not so. You, in fact, have different teachers. You have different teacher for each subject. And not only that, you have to move to a different classroom for each subject too. Something else that's different from middle school and elementary school. What do you do with your supplies in elementary? Chances are you store your supplies in the classroom. However, when you get to middle school, you usually get a locker when it comes to storing your supplies. So when we think about the differences between middle school and elementary, we have elementary, you have the same class. Chances are you have the same teacher for most of the day, and you have classroom storage. When you get to middle school, you have a different class, a different teacher, and you now have a locker. And so remember, the first paragraph deals specifically with similarities. So here it is right here. How the two things are similar. Oh, let me erase that. That was not what I was trying to do. Again, still not what I was trying to do. I just can't get this right. But I think you get it. So I'm going to erase that. And so now we move on to our conclusion. And here we are here. So this making the move from elementary school to middle school may seem scary, but knowing what to expect can really help. Elementary school provides kids with the experiences they need to be ready for middle school. Even though moving on means adjusting to a new assignment or new environment, some things, including many of the classmates who accompany you, will remain the same. So in our concluding paragraph, we find that the author gives us even more reasons for why they wrote this particular essay. At the introduction, we find out they wrote it simply because they wanted to compare middle school and elementary school. But when we get to the conclusion, we find out they want to actually help put future elementary students who are going to make the transition from elementary to middle school to kind of overcome some potential fears. And so what are some things that they identify to help the student say, hey, you're ready for this? One of the things they said is that knowing what to expect can really help you if you're a middle school student, knowing what to expect as you go. So they've done that in your essay. They let you know, hey, in their essay, you're not going to have one teacher all day. You're going to have several teachers, and you have to move between classes, and you have to store your stuff in a locker. So they're letting us know what to expect. Then the author goes on to say that your teachers have made you ready for middle school. Your elementary teachers are preparing you. You are prepared, so have no fear. You are prepared for middle school. And then you will have classmates who will not only travel with you from elementary to middle, but who will be going through the same experiences you are. So you are not alone in this. You will have others who will help you assist, who will help you, who will understand some of your frustrations and struggles and fears, and you are not alone. And so as you begin to write your compare-contrast essay as a group, remember, boys and girls, we're writing as a group simply because more heads are better than one. And so please take time to work with those in your group, and do not neglect the mentor text that I've provided for your assistance as you write. Stay tuned. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, if you have any questions, you have myself or Mr. Henley to assist you as you write. Thank you, boys and girls.